Imagine a world where Spain, as we know it, simply didn't exist. The year is 1460. The Iberian Peninsula is a patchwork of rival Christian kingdoms, Castile, Aragon, Navarre, each with its own ambitions, languages, and enemies. To the south, the last vestiges of Islamic rule cling to Granada. But what if I told you that within a single generation, this fractured land would give birth to the world's first true superpower? How does a nation go from internal strife to global dominance in less than a century? And at what cost? In 1469, a single marriage changed the fate of millions. Queen Isabella of Castile and King Ferdinand of Aragon unite their crowns, not just for love, but for power. Together, they launched the final assault on Granada. By 1491, the last Muslim emirate falls. Spain, at last, is born, united under the Catholic monarchs. But was this unity forged for glory or for control? And what happens to those who don't fit the new vision? As Spain celebrates victory, its rulers look outward. The riches of the East, spices, silk, gold, beckon. But Portugal controls the sea routes around Africa. Enter Christopher Columbus, a Genoese dreamer with a radical idea. Sail west to reach Asia. Rejected by Portugal, Columbus finds an audience with Isabella and Ferdinand. They gamble on his vision. What drives a nation to risk everything on a single voyage? Is it greed, faith, or desperation? August 3rd, 1492. 3 ships, Niña, Pinta, Santa Maria, slip into the Atlantic. After weeks of fear and near mutiny, land appears on October 12. Columbus steps onto San Salvador, believing he's reached Asia. But this is a new world, unknown to Europe. The news electrifies Spain. Did Columbus truly understand what he'd found? Or was he blinded by his own ambition? The discoveries spark a diplomatic crisis. Who owns these new lands? In 1494, the Treaty of Tordesillas, brokered by the Pope, divides the non-European world between Spain and Portugal. An invisible line slices through the globe. But can a signature truly decide the fate of continents? What about the people already living there? Spanish settlements spring up across the Caribbean. Santo Domingo, founded in 1496, becomes the first European city in the Americas. Cuba falls next, Havana rising as the empire's new jewel. But beneath the surface, tension simmers. Indigenous societies crumble under disease and forced labor. Was this progress or devastation masked as civilization? Rumors swirl of a mighty empire inland. In 1519, Hernán Cortés lands on the Mexican coast with fewer than 1,000 men. He marches on Tenochtitlan, the Aztec capital, a city of wonders, built on a lake. Alliances with oppressed tribes and the invisible weapon of smallpox tip the scales. After months of siege and betrayal, the Aztec Empire falls. Did the Spanish conquer with swords or with germs and guile? Far to the south, the Inca Empire rules the Andes. Francisco Pizarro arrives in the 1530s, finding a land weakened by civil war and disease. The conquest is brutal and chaotic, with Spanish factions fighting each other as much as the Incas. Pizarro is murdered by his own countrymen, but Spanish rule endures. How does an empire survive when its conquerors are divided? The Spanish push ever outward, north into what is now the United States, south to Argentina and Chile, and west across the Pacific. Not every land is conquered. Some, like the American Southeast, remain only lightly touched. Why did Spain's drive for expansion falter in some places and flourish in others? Was it geography, resistance, or simple greed? 1519. Ferdinand Magellan sets sail to circumnavigate the globe. His journey leads to the Philippines, where Spain establishes a foothold in Asia by the 1560s. But conquest here is never complete. Resistance in Mindanao and the surrounding islands persists for centuries. What does it mean to claim an empire on the far side of the world? The true engine of empire is neither faith nor glory. It's silver. From the mines of Potosí in Bolivia and Zacatecas in Mexico, mountains of precious metal flow to Spain. 80% of the world's silver passes through Spanish hands, fueling a global economic revolution and runaway inflation. But at what human cost? Millions of indigenous people are forced into brutal labor. Can an empire built on exploitation ever truly last? As Spanish settlers flood the Americas, a new society emerges. Complex, hierarchical, and often violent. Native cultures are suppressed, but never fully erased. Rebellions flare from Peru to the Philippines. How do conquered peoples adapt, resist, or survive under foreign rule? And what happens when the conquerors themselves become part of the land they claimed? By the dawn of the 19th century, Spain's empire stretches over 5 million square miles, more than any before it. But beneath the surface, cracks appear. Colonies yearn for independence. The wealth that built palaces in Madrid also sows seeds of revolution. Was the Spanish Empire a force for progress or a harbinger of suffering? And what lessons does its rise and fall hold for us today? The story of the Spanish Empire is one of ambition, faith, violence, and transformation. But its legacy is still debated. Was it inevitable that a fragmented kingdom would become a superpower? Could the tragedies of conquest have been avoided? And as new empires rise and fall, what warnings echo from Spain's golden age?